Okay, so let's dive in. So Collette, you want to just start with your name, where you're from, how long you've been climbing, and just give us a
Sure.
basic bio.
Yeah, sure. My name's Collette McInerny. I'm originally from Nashville, Tennessee. I lived there till I was 18, went to college. I've been climbing for a little over 20 years now, I suppose. And yeah, started climbing when I was in college, moved out west for a year or two, intending to move back to New York where I went to school and quote unquote get a real job, and just continued to stay out west, got more and more into climbing. And about probably like 6 or 7 years into my climbing world, maybe more like 5, I started doing more photography and video work through climbing. And then yeah, I kind of used that as a way to stay on the road and the way to keep kind of living a free lifestyle, if you will. And then I have continued doing that work for the last, whatever that adds up to, 12 years or 11 years or something.
So, do you consider yourself a professional photographer or videographer? Or what do you call your work, or do you work?
Is it work?
Yeah, exactly.
I sort of struggle with that question because sometimes I feel like I make equal from like being an athlete, doing events and that sort of thing as I do with my photo and video work. I would say in general, I'm more of a videographer. Like if someone described it like your job is how you make a living, then that's where I make my most money. And that's the work I've consistently made the most money through in my life. So I say I'm a videographer. Yeah.
And have you done as much video as photography from the beginning, or did you start with one and transition to the other? Have you always done both? Like, what's the ratio for you?
Probably more video in the front end because that's where we can make dollars. It was sort of at a time when online content was becoming like the thing. It was Momentum Video Mag, and
I was about to
basically,
ask if you ever shot for
yeah.
Momentum Video
Oh
Magazine.
yeah,
To me,
that was
that
the
represents
first
the
gig.
first of yeah, classic. That's so
Yeah,
old school.
totally. Mike Call gave me and my partner at the time a camera, and we're like, hey, we need content. We're gonna pay you guys whatever, and it'll keep you on the road. And so we just started shooting. And so that's when I started shooting video. I wasn't doing as much editing, but I started editing a little bit after that, maybe a year or so.
Classic.
Yeah.
Yeah, MVM. That's so funny. Did you shoot epic TV stuff? I feel like that's another sort
Uh-huh.
of more modern cash
Yeah.
cow for climbing videography.
That's when I went like totally on my own. That was sort of the epic TV time. And I shot a few segments with Jonathan, one with
Oh yeah.
Melissa,
Yep.
Lenev, a few, Jung, yeah, a couple people when I was kind of more in Europe, because they're a little more European based, those
Yep.
guys.
And so which do you prefer shooting? I mean, if video makes a little more money, but
Yeah.
is it more fun to shoot?
I think video is more forgiving in a sense because you don't have to sort of perfect well, that's changing, but the way I've always shot is a little doc style, and it's like you get a bunch of pieces that lead up to a story. And so I think for me, it feels like there's a little more room for forgiveness. But when you get a nice photo and the act of shooting a photo is way more controlled, way easier in the long run, because the editing process with filming, getting all the pieces you need, the delicacy of just all the parts like sound and music, and it's a really big thing. But then you get to kind of in a way say something bigger at the end. You make a story, or you talk about someone, or not that a photo can't tell a story, but it is more linear and maybe more open to interpretation. Whereas when you make a video piece, it's like you're, at least the kind I make, which are doc styles, it's like people should know at the end what you're trying to tell them. It's not really like an interpretive moment, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, I feel like shooting photos and climbing is so easy compared to video. Because like you just pose exactly what you want. You're like, and look up and left and reach into your chalk bag and tilt back. Oh, hold on, let me get the sun in the frame, and perfect, done. And let's go
And
home.
yeah,
There's a video, it's like, let's try it again. Let's try it again.
I know.
You're like, oh man, it's so much
Close-ups,
work
a
to do.
toe. We need your toe going as you
Oh
do
my
it. And
God.
we need
Yeah,
like good
cutaways.
12 angles.
Like,
I know.
yeah. You're like, oh, let's get another shot of your hand touching rock. Like
Uh-huh.
I recently did a TV show, and we did all those cutaways on the summit of the peak. just walking around grabbing rocks basically because it's just super tight on hands and feet. I was like, man, this is so much easier than actually dangling on the pitch and trying to get the specific holds. Because like all
Yeah.
they needed was just like a crimp, a pinch, a hand jam. I was like, oh, let's just,
It's
you know,
just
yeah, we're in our tennis shoes. I'm like eating my snack with one hand and just hand jamming with the other. And we're like, we're killing it. We're getting the shots. I was like, this is video magic right there.
people love this. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's got to be all that Hollywood stuff that's like just coming into climbing, all the like
Mhm.
bells and whistles and behind the curtains. I'm sure
Yeah,
as
I
the
was pretty
productions
worried.
get bigger.
I was worried that it was going to look super cheesy. So I was
Mhm.
like, show me some of this footage because I was like, I just don't want to do this if it's going to be totally dumb. And then
Sure.
when I saw it, it looked perfect. It's just like there's a
Yeah.
hand grabbing a small edge, and I'm sure that's going to cut right in where they need it. It's going to be perfect. I was like, you know what? This is by far the easiest way to shoot climbing.
Yeah. These guys know what they're doing. Just bit at
Yeah.
a time. Get a drone up there and some close-ups at the summit.
Well, that's actually exactly what that was the thing with this Greenland thing, because it was the only way to shoot it was by drone because it's too big a wall
Sure.
and it's too dangerous to get in. So they had tons of drone footage, and then they were like, "We need some close-ups." You're like, "Perfect!" You just walk around the top and just grab random rocks. It's like it's yeah. I was like, it's way less stressful than trying to rappel back into a giant overhanging big wall with loose rocks
No.
everywhere.
No. Yeah. I mean, those people will ask you that. How did you get the ropes up there and all this stuff? And I sort of roll my eyes, but then sometimes I see pieces like that Greenland one and I would be like, how did they get those shots? I'll be like on the same page. Like, how did they do that?
Like, how did they get the ropes
How
up there?
did they get that? Yeah.
But so it all sounds pretty glamorous being a professional climber, professional videographer, photographer. Like, is it a glamorous lifestyle? Is it cool?
Yeah, at times it's cool. There's moments of glamour, but I mean, no, probably not compared to really glamorous lifestyles. I just showered at the 24-hour fitness before this. It's that sort of stuff.
That's why you look so fresh.
I'm looking fresh, and the strawberries that I was going to put in my yogurt this morning had mold on them because our refrigerator in our van that we're living in since May died a long time ago, and we just keep ice in it. So there's all of the not glamorous things of being on the road, right? But I obviously have gotten to travel to all these crazy places, and when you're on a big shoot or when you're like flying around somewhere cool, yeah, there's like an air of glamour there, for sure. But I think any work and production is like a hustle. I mean, you've been on some of those shoots, and as much as it's fun and you're getting to do what you want, it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of carrying bags and shuffling things, and it's like not that glamorous when it's happening. It's like a lot of hard work. So
Yeah, is it more manual labor or artistry?
with climbing stuff, it's probably 50-50, maybe leaning on the can you carry heavy stuff. I mean, I've been told by lead photographers like, hey, sorry, I'm gonna hire 22-year-old Joe Schmo because he's like $180 and 6'2", and he can literally carry more shit than you. And that's like what I need on this shoot, not necessarily like I need like this certain kind of shooter and you're perfect, but I'm still not going to choose you. I mean, I think it's like at a point, it's about schlepping gear and getting it where it's got to go.
You need your reel to just show you humping a humongous backpack around in nature. It's like your photographer reel just needs to show you with this like triple oversized backpack, like hiking along a ridge, getting the shot.
Dude,
People
I feel
are like,
like
oh
it
wow, she
already
can carry
does.
heavy things.
I carry
Yeah,
so
totally.
much stuff. No, not really, but I do feel like I carry too many bags. But yeah, I mean, I always think about climbing and film and photography is so much about access though, right? It's like, are those absolutely the best shooters ever? Maybe not. Obviously they've gotten good at it because they've been doing it so long, but at some level, it's like you could get I don't know, Anne Leibovitz or some crazy photographer, but she can't access these places. So it's about the access as much as it is the artistry to a degree.